Mr. Epps was in front of the January 6th committee, and we were told that a transcript of his interview would be released, but it's never been released. And I wondered, was he sworn
None
in?
of the transcripts have been released, so you don't need a conspiracy theory about that. We haven't released any of them.
Were you present when he was interviewed? That would give me
No, I was not. I was not. We've done more than 1,000 interviews. You guys are trying to make this poor schmuck who showed up to your protest into something a lot bigger than he is. Okay, he's just trying to survive, and he's on your side. You don't have many voters left. You might want to try to hang on to them without demonizing and vilifying your own people. But that's the Donald Trump way. Sell everybody else down the road. Unless you're going to get a pardon. Some people are still hanging around waiting for their pardon. But most people have opened their eyes about what he's done to our country. What he's done to his family. Have you guys ever read the book by Mary Trump about the way that Donald Trump has absolutely destroyed their family? Wrecked her father's life?
Can you believe this?
They do it to family. They do it to friends. They do it to their own associates and employees. And now you guys are doing it to this poor Ray Epps. Leave that guy alone, whoever he is. I yield back to Ms. Garcia.
Can you believe what we just witnessed? That is Raskin. Literally, does everyone remember Leave Britney Alone? Hold on one second. I don't know. Some people might be sufficiently young that you might not know who Leave Britney Alone guy is. Hold on. Okay, we're all good there with the audio. Hold on. Does everyone know Leave Britney Alone? It's a classic. 11 years ago. Oh my goodness.
Do we really want to see a 25-year-old woman leave behind 2 children and die? Have we learned nothing from Anna Nicole Smith? I know it's hard to see Britney's...
She lost her aunt. She went through a divorce. She had 2 fucking kids. Her husband turned out to be a user,
it was
a
parody,
cheater,
by the
and
way.
now
This was
she's
parody.
going through a custody battle. All you people care about is readers and making money off of her. She's a human!
This was the viral video once upon a time.
What you don't realize is that Britney's making you all this money because all you people want is more. Leave her alone!
Okay, so that was a parody way back in the day. It is still a classic 11 years later. Listen
Mr. Epps was in
to what Raskin is saying about Ray Epps. People, this is in the context of the insurrection, or as Chuck Schumer put it, the erection. This is in the context of inciting the erection. The darkest day in recent memory of American history, compared to 9/11, compared to Pearl Harbor, where a mob of pro-Trump rioters, insurrectionists, tried to take over the Capitol, undermine democracy, overthrow a duly elected government, spearheaded by one Ray Epps. Everybody under the sun, and I mean everybody under the sun, that was tangentially related to anything that happened on January 6th was either investigated, prosecuted, jailed. That's an exaggeration. Not everyone. Ray Epps, the man who literally said the night before, we need to enter the Capitol building. And when he said that, he was called fed by the people in the crowd. The day of was leading people to the Capitol building. Angeli, the QAnon shaman, what did he get? 5 years for entering with his American flag on a spear? What were some of the other outrageous sentences? Ray Epps was an individual who incited people the day before to enter the Capitol, was there the day of, got into restricted areas, was on the FBI's most wanted list in the days after the events of January 6th, was magically, mysteriously taken off that list, has not been indicted, has not faced any charges. And Raskin is trying to make him out to be some poor schmuck. I really hate it when people get colloquial. They try to chummy it up by using dialect that is informal, that if you call them out on it, they're whoa, don't. You're just a schmuck. He's just a poor schmuck, right? Right, Raskin? Let's listen to this again, and listen to this with the astute ear of confession through projection. Accuse your enemies of doing what you are doing so as to create confusion. Raskin is basically telling us exactly what he does, what his side of the political aisle does. Listen to this one more time, because it's a work of art in a way. Where did it go? Where is it? Here, listen to this. Let's just make it big again. Okay.
Front of the January 6th committee, and we were told that a transcript of his interview would be released, but it's never been released. And I wondered, was he sworn
None
in?
of the transcripts have been released, so you don't need a conspiracy theory about that.
None of the transcripts have been released after nearly 2 years of investigation, so you don't need a conspiracy theory about that. I don't need a conspiracy theory. I need an explanation. 2 years of investigations, over 1,000 witnesses examined, and they haven't released the depositions of insignificant schmuck who's just trying to survive, Ray Epps.
But it's never been released.
Why?
And I wondered, was he sworn
None
in?
of the transcripts have been released, so you don't need a conspiracy theory about that. We haven't
Well,
released any of
Were
them.
you present when
Why not, Raskin? Why haven't you released the transcripts? You said you have overwhelming evidence of insurrection, of Donald Trump leading the charge to overthrow democracy. Why haven't you released any of the transcripts? That's normal? 2 years later, after 2 years of investigation, taxpayer dollars squandered? Maybe you haven't released the transcripts because they're not quite as damning as they need to be. If the public got their scrutinizing eyes on these transcripts, they might be more useful than 2 years of House committee investigations.
he was interviewed? That would give me
No, I was not. I was not. We've done more than 1,000 interviews. You guys are trying to make this poor schmuck who showed up to your protest into something a lot bigger than he is.
You're trying to make this poor schmuck who showed up to your protest a lot bigger than he is. If there was anybody who had a hand in orchestrating the events in real time and prepping up to it, it was Ray Epps. Not, oh geez, I forgot his name now. Came on the show. Brandon Strzok. Not Brandon Strzok, by the way, who was detained for 2 days, house arrest for months, went through years of hell because he video recorded outside the steps without entering the Capitol the day of. Not, who was the other guy there? The one who took a picture when he went inside. No, all those other people, I would argue, are insignificant compared to Ray Epps. He's just some poor schmuck. Let me get colloquial and casual with all of you. So like, we're friends. He's just a schmuck. Let's let the schmuck go.
Okay, he's just trying to survive, and he's on your side. You don't have many voters left. You might want to try to hang on to them without demonizing and vilifying your own people.
What the hell is he talking about? You might want to hold on to you don't have very many voters left, only 74 million. Even if you believe they're only 74 million, you may want to hold on to them without demonizing and vilifying them. Oh, you mean like one POTUS did about how long ago was that? The red sermon. It's unbelievable. This is unbelievable, pathological.
That's the Donald Trump way. Sell everybody else down the road. Unless you can get a pardon. Some people are still hanging around waiting for their pardon. But most people have opened their eyes about what he's done to our country. What he's done to his...
Most people open their eyes, but we're not letting your eyes see the transcripts. And don't ask too many questions about Ray Epps. He's just a poor schmuck.
Family.
Oh, and let's get into Trump's family. Because when all else fails, shame the person, shame anybody who trusts them, supports them, follows them, then try to shame the family.
You guys ever read the book by Mary Trump?
Oh, Mary Trump, the woman who stole confidential documents from a law firm at tax records and then delivered them to journalists and then wrote a book on it to sell her own story about her selling her family. Oh, yeah. Let's let Mary Trump lecture us about how you treat family. No, but Mary Trump is to be believed. She documents how bad Donald Trump was with his entire family. Because, Donald Trump's kids turned out with lots of serious problems. Donald Trump's kids turned out to write diaries about how the father was inappropriate with them. Donald Trump's kids turned out to have serious lifelong problems. But no, let's try to attack Donald Trump's family. And if anybody dares mention anything of Joe Biden and his family. Leave the kids out of this.
About the way that Donald Trump has absolutely destroyed their family?
Oh, he's destroyed their family. Some people might say you're an idiot, Raskin. Some people might say this is the most pathologically unhinged diatribe ever. He's destroyed their family. They look destroyed. They look destroyed by comparison to someone else's family, which actually looks destroyed.
Wrecked her father's life? They do it to family. They do it to friends. They do it to their own associates and employees. And
all projection, all projection.
And now you guys are doing it to this poor Ray Epps. Leave that guy alone, whoever he is.
Can you imagine Raskin is pretending to not know who Ray Epps is? Leave him alone, whoever that poor schmuck is. What a pathological, disingenuous, overt liar. I mean, whoever this guy is, I don't know who he is. Leave him alone. Forget about him. Move on.
I yield back to Ms. Garcia.
Yeah, way to use your time, Raskin. Way to use your time for a self-serving, utterly preposterous diatribe. Leave poor Ray Epps alone. He's just trying to survive. Good afternoon, people. Sorry for the bad timing, for the lateness, and sorry if I look a little haggard. We're getting ready to live through our first tropical storm. In Canada, they say, okay, 12 inches of snow is coming, or it's going to be like minus 40. Don't go outside. That's fine. You stay inside and, unless you have a problem, some roof collapses or there's too much ice accumulating, fine. This is intense. Like, I don't know if it's media attention or if it's actually outright panic, but this is an environment where people are being told potentially to evacuate their homes and areas. Not us. Where we are, apparently it's going inland and it's going to skip the lower lower southeast side and go up and make landfall at Tallahassee. But yes, Steve C says, yeah, but we got lucky a little north of us. It's intense. You're talking about people boarding up and evacuating. This is not a massive snowstorm. Typically, the worst thing that happens is bad driving and school cancellation. So if I look tired, that's wonderful energy, Christian. Thank you very much. If I look tired, it might be because I feel tired, but we are preparing. It should be fun. I kind of want to go to the East Coast beach tomorrow because they've canceled schools, and I kind of want to see what an ocean looks like in a hurricane, but my wife says don't do that. We'll see. So good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. You got some interesting stuff in the news today. We'll get to them in due course, but seem to be some holes in some pipelines between Russia and Germany, which some people say look like sabotage. CIA was warning of potential sabotage. When people warn of things to come and then things occur, people start asking questions. Past is prologue. People have questions. Randy Hillier, the Canadian member of provincial parliament, has seen some charges against him drop, but not the most recent charges from a little while back, a year and a half ago. We're going to get into that because it's par for the course. Lay some charges, give the media their headlines. A year and a half later, drop the charges. Everyone forgets about the incident, but remembers the headlines from the time. Interesting story that I heard related to a little jibby jab, and I just started looking things up, and I came across an interesting study from the NCBHI, whatever it is. It's a legit thing. It's just stating facts, which I was largely unaware of, and now I'm largely pissed off about having read. We'll get to that as well. Let me see here. That was my dog who just made a noise. Oh, and let's just start with this. Apparently, Nick Rekieta has been permanently suspended, to use the Orwellian newspeak, permanently suspended from Twitter. The operating theory, this is like one of those incidents now where we live in a world kind of like where you have these quasi-terrorist entities. When something bad happens, some of these groups want to claim credit for it, even if they're not responsible for it. And so Nick Rekieta, for right or for wrong, for good or for bad, has made some enemies on Twitter of various groups. And apparently he has now been banned. And I suspect there's going to be a great many people wanting to take credit for this. And I suspect it probably is the result of some flagging campaign. But the one theory is that it's an individual named Christopher Boozy who owns this app that tracks bad Twitter accounts called Bot Sentinel, who has picked a fight, found a fight with LawTube. Some people are hypothesizing, or Boozy is taking credit for this. And some people are hypothesizing that the reason Rekieta's account was suspended is because it was a suspension evasion, because he had been previously suspended or banned and set up a new account. And that in and of itself is in fact a bannable offense. It happened to Savannah Hernandez, and it seems to have happened to Nick Rekieta as well. But people want to take credit for it. His previous account was Nick Rekieta, and he was evading suspension. Every group has to eventually face the fact that they can't win against the Bot Sentinel community. And this latest group is no different. Next. And then you have, Alejandro Caraballo, who I think is also in a community that Rekieta has pissed off as well. And that's it. You get an unfair, abusive initial permanent suspension, which is a ban. Create a new account. It's evasion. It's a ban evasion, which is itself a bannable offense. Happened to Savannah Hernandez, and it's a load of crap, and it's a testament to the degree to which Twitter as a platform is comprised of bots, mass flagging campaigns, capricious willy-nilly rules applied with a political viewpoint perspective, and Rekieta now seems to be on the receiving end of that hammer. Let's see what we got here. Boozy is his, no, is his, I don't know what that means. I thought that said last name. Boozy is his last name, which is what I thought that said. Can't believe Rekieta lasted this long. Where are the tacos? They'll be coming. It's going to be a taco load of rubbish. Let's start with let's start with the Canadian rubbish. No, you know what? Let's start with Joe Biden rubbish.
So God bless you all, and pray that we figure out how to come together better than we have so far, because a lot of people's lives and futures depend upon it. And I'm absolutely confident we can get it done. So God bless you all, and pray that we figure out how to come together better.
This is psychotic. I mean, I don't want to say it's like me, myself, and Irene split personalities, but it is caricature level psychosis. The red sermon man himself, who talks about MAGA Republicans, Republican extremists, threat to democracy, clear and present danger, in reference to roughly half the population who votes, half the voting population, assuming you operate on the 74 million votes for Trump and the 81 million votes for Joe Biden. He spends his time in a national address demonizing tens of millions of people in the most insidious, deep-rooted manner possible. Threats to democracy, clear and present danger, MAGA Republican extremists. And then another day when he's feeling nice, how do we come together? Give me some virtue signaling. How do we come together? How do we bring these MAGA Republican extremist existential threats, clear and present dangers together? How do we come together with these evil, awful, dangerous people who wanted to overthrow? It's delusional.
So God bless you all, and pray that we figure out how to come together better than we have so far.
You are to blame for it, Biden. It would be like Justin Trudeau, and I'm sure he's done it and will do it again, talking about how sad it is that we're a divided nation. We need to ratchet down the rhetoric. We need to calm it down, tone it down. We need to come together. But those people are putting us all at risk. They're a bunch of racist, misogynist extremists, but we need to come together. How do we do it? I'm the unifier. I want to unify those racist, misogynist, xenophobic, anti-science, extremist anti-vaxxers with the good people. Let's do it together. It's pathological. Okay, well, that was the crap that we're going to start with. Thank you for reminding me. We're going to be moving over to Rumble in 10 minutes. Or 10 minutes or so. We'll cover one story here, the Randy Hillier story, and then we'll move over to Rumble exclusively. Big problem with Rumble is not being able to adjust the video quality. If I am low on data, I still watch YouTube because I can lower video quality to make it work. Rumble should fix that. Screen grabbed, and I will tell Pavlovsky that because it's an interesting thing. I was trying to stream with crappy internet on Spirit Air, and it didn't work, but I tried to reduce the video quality to 144p on YouTube just so I could I just wanted the audio. So if that's interesting complaint, I'm gonna send it over to Chris. Okay, let's start with some Canadian stuff after I make sure that we're live on Rumble because I haven't done that yet. Stupid me. Boom shakalaka. We are here. Okay. And by the way, stick around. Tomorrow we're going to have an amazing stream with Chloe Cole, the former transgender 18-year-old woman who had a double mastectomy at the age of 15 or 16, was put on puberty blockers at the age of 12 or 13. We're going to have an amazing discussion tomorrow. So be sure to tune into that. And now let's get to Randy Hillier. What the heck did I just do here? Hold on. Share. Oh, son of a bee sting. Where is it? Charges dropped against Randy Hillier. Here we go. Okay. This is the news coming out of Canada. Crown drops charges against former MP, Member of Parliament, MPP, Member of Provincial Parliament, and pastor for attending Church of God services in Aylmer, Ontario. Some of you may recall, or you may not know, Randy Hillier was recently charged with a number of mischief-related crimes resulting from the Freedom Convoy protests. One of the not so humorous charges that Randy Hillier was recently charged with in February or March, assault on a police officer. He was charged with assaulting a police officer. Randy Hillier is not that elderly gentlemen can't assault police officers. He's an elderly gentleman, a member of provincial parliament who was on Parliament Hill to protest and support the protest. He's been charged with assault on a police officer in addition to all the mischief charges because he moved a barricade from the stairs to parallel with the stairs so that protesters could walk up the stairs. And a police officer allegedly claimed to have felt threatened and intimidated, hence the assault charges. Those charges are still pending. Those charges where the terms of his release from jail, his bail terms, consisted in restricting his freedom of speech, what he could post online, what debates he could have publicly, where he could travel. These charges are not those charges. These charges are from a year and a half ago. Now, a year and a half later, those charges have been dropped. And I can predict in about a year to a year and a half, the current charges currently pending against Randy Hillier will also be dropped, but not after the headlines ran, Randy Hillier charged with assaulting a police officer. A year and a half after, a former MP, MPP, and pastor at the Church of God were charged for violating the Reopening Ontario Act amid COVID-19 restrictions, the Crown has officially dropped its charges. Amazing. According to the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom, JCCF, I've had John Carpe on the channel multiple times. I've had Keith Wilson on, who is currently representing Brian Peckford in his charter challenge. Had him on as well. According to the JCCF, the group representing the three men, charges against former MP Derek Sloan, former MPP Randy Hillier, and Pastor Henry Hildebrandt were dropped by the Crown on Monday. They drag you through the mud. They drag you through the process. They drop the charges. No harm, no foul, no skin off their teeth. But they put you through hell. They've besmirched your name. Now when you Google search for these people, those articles will always come up. Nothing unlawful about it. They were just reporting the charges that they actually faced. A year and a half later, dropped the charges. The three men were allegedly involved in peaceful rallies against COVID-19 measures in the spring of 2021 and were facing charges for violating public health orders under the Reopening Ontario Act. Let's see what we got here. Last year, the province of Ontario implemented attendance limits and events throughout the province. Yeah, we know that. Despite the new regulations, the Church of God in Aylmer still held indoors. God forbid, pun intended. They held indoor services. You could go to Walmart. You could go to Canadian Tire. You could go to McDonald's, although McDonald's only had drive-through in many places. But you could go to big box retail stores. You just can't pray to God. What does an abusive partner do in every relationship? They try to alienate you from friends, family, religion, education. They control who you can see, who you can talk to, what you can talk about. we have been in an abusive relationship with our government, if not since 2020, since much earlier. But it certainly was exacerbated in 2020 and beyond. They tried to control God, education, family, friends, who you could talk to, what you could read. Telltale signs of an abusive relationship. Despite the new regulations, the Church of God still held indoor services that far exceeded the maximum number of attendees, and parishioners were seen without masks and in close proximity to each other. Oh my God. Hey, for the people who say follow the science, can I see the statistics that showed massive outbreaks resulting from church services? I mean, surely if you implement policy that restricts it, you have to have studies that demonstrate an objective risk such that this violation, limitation of charter rights, is directly necessary, proportionate, and required. Surely there have to be studies. There are no studies, and stop calling me Shirley. Oh, let's see what we got here. They were charged, yada, yada. In a 2021 video posted by the church to YouTube, both Sloan and Hillier were called by Hildebrand to give a short speech. There is no foundation on which we can build. There is no foundation on which we can build than Jesus Christ, our rock, our Lord, and our Savior. God bless you and God bless Canada, said Sloan in the video. It brings tears to one's eyes to see so many people, Hillier added. On Monday, CTV News London spoke with the men at the center of the controversy, including Sloan. Quote, "We are protesting the government's specific policies in question at the time," he said. "We weren't just partying. So I think it's the right thing to do. I think people want to move on and move forward. We exercised our right to free speech and association, and the prosecution made the right decision. The charges carried potential penalties of fine up to $100,000 and minimums of $10,000. A year later, a year and a half later, they made the point. At the time, I'm sure they scared the bejesus, also pun intended. I'm sure they scared the bejesus out of a lot of people back then who said, geez, I don't want that. No, Ari here, will you condemn Jeremy McKenzie? Ari, maybe you should actually go follow me on Twitter. You can maybe even go back to the live stream I did with Jeremy McKenzie. You know, good parentheses, time to open this. Jeremy McKenzie said something which he claims was a joke, which I say it's not a joke. There's lines, even in humor, that you don't cross, and he crossed it, in my view. People don't need to go out and say, I condemn these. It goes without saying. Anybody with half a brain and half a conscience, I don't compel other people to condemn egregious acts of violence, egregiously offensive statements. It goes without saying. McKenzie crossed the line with his statement. It's terrible, and that's what it is. And now there are a ton of people who were following Jeremy who are going to be put in a terribly tough spot because some statements, people could say you joke. It was a prank, bro. No, at some point it's not a prank, and at some point it's not just a joke. When you're talking about certain things with a politician's wife, it's not a joke. So is that enough of a condemnation? I don't expect other people to apologize for the wrongdoings of other people. I also don't go around making people say condemn comments about sexually assaulting people, because it goes without saying. Now, Jeremy's a big boy, and he's going to have to live with the consequences of what he said. He can stand by it. He can try to explain it. He's a big boy. He'll live with the consequences of what he said. And it puts other people who, up until then, were supporting Jeremy and his cause in a very tough spot. And that's that. You know, I've said it before. You conduct yourself in a way that would make your parents, your children, and your pets proud. And also, we drafted the terms of use for Rumble. There's a limit. And I would argue that joke crossed a line. What did Jeremy say? Go to Twitter. You know what? I'll put it up here. Clyde Do Something put out a great video. Actually, that's basically what I said on Twitter. Clyde said it. Clyde said it. Clyde Do Something. Where is it? Justin Trudeau, Pierre Poilievre. Here we go. Here it is. I'll put it up here. And here we go. You can have a look at it. It's leave moms and family out of political jokes. It's just that it's not a joke. It's just, you see how things happen. People push the limits. They also, Jeremy said, I was drunk 2 a.m. talking to 50 people. No, at some point people have to appreciate. You're no longer talking to a small group of friends as if it would be even appropriate then. Nobody would say that among a small group of friends. Words, there's a line. That's a line. And now Jeremy is going to have to live with the consequences and deal with it. That's it. Okay, we are 30 minutes into this. Let me see this. Ninja Kitty. Did you get my tweet last week about the mother-daughter who got CPS SWAT after daughter desisted? I joined Twitter to contact. Not sure if it worked. Linked video. Okay, I'll check it out, Ninja Kitty. I'm not sure that I saw it, but I'll have a look. Okay, thank you. Now, did I tag another one? Okay, there we go. We are going to bring it over to the Rumbles right now. Let me get the link so we can all go find it. I'm sweating. I think I may have put the air conditioning to a little bit too high of a line. There is no line? No, there is a line. There is a line. What would be legal harassment? Whether or not it rises to threats is going to be, he's given every argument to ideological adversaries to go after him to the fullest extent of a reasonable interpretation of the law. And it's just, there's edgy and then there's going over the edge. Okay, let's do this. We're going to wind it up on YouTube, people. Head over to Rumbles. We got not Nordstrom. That's the joke I had in the back of my head. Nord Stream pipeline sabotage. Who knows? It's crazy what's going on. Not to be confused with Nordstrom's, the big box retail store. Okay, go over there, people. I'm ending it on YouTube.